What's going on, guys? It's Corey Graziani with Getting in the Green here for you. We've got a 13-game NBA slate tonight, so we're going to run through this one pretty quickly. But lots of games, man. We're going to try and avoid some blowouts, and you've got to love everybody you play tonight here. So, starting on DraftKings, first game of the night, we got Washington at Cleveland. And pretty competitive game. I think Vegas has it at a 3-point line right now, so we're going to take a dive into this one here. And with Washington, we are going to start with Hachimura and Thomas Bryant still out. So Gafford seems to be back to full health. Him and Harrell are splitting minutes pretty evenly again. Their usage rates are pretty similar also when they're on the floor. I would definitely take the price discount on Gafford over Harrell tonight at 4,700 versus 6,400. But honestly, there's a couple great center plays later on in the night. I won't be playing too much Gafford, but I think he is the value on the Washington side of things if you're looking to go that route. For me, I'm going to probably be staying away from Washington here tonight. Now, Cleveland, on the other hand, has a couple interesting spots here. One of them being almost a must play, and then another very, very good play here. So we've got Sexton is out, Markkaken's out, Love's out. Okoro's questionable, but I do think he's going to play tonight. It looks like his hamstring. Game time call. We will know before lock, but I think Okoro goes tonight, and that does take a little bit away from, some of these, the C.D. Osmonds, the Dean Wades, and some of these guys. So on this Cleveland team, though, man, Ricky Rubio is a must play for me at 5,200. With Sexton out, this guy starting, man, his usage is through the roof. So Ricky Rubio at point guard, or on DraftKings you can throw him in at that guard eligibility, but Ricky Rubio is a must play for me. This guy in a great matchup against Washington's guards. I mean, Bradley Beal, Dinwiddie, these guys aren't going to try and stop him. Ricky Rubio should do what he wants with this offense. And, Garland has no problem taking a back seat to the ball handling duties here with Rubio. So I love Rubio in this spot. And the other guys I'm targeting on this Cleveland team is going to be Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. For upside purposes, you could probably only go with one of these guys. And for me, it's going to be Allen, who's been, he's 7,500, but he is an absolute beast as of late. 49 points, 39 points, 55, 56. The guy's a monster, man. And we're going up against a Washington front court we just talked about, undersized with Daniel Gafford and Montrezl Harrell. I think Jared Allen has a field day, cleans the boards here. So not necessarily a must play because there are some other good center plays here. But, I mean, for the most part, Jared Allen, Ricky Rubio on this Cleveland side of things, first game of the night, are going to be in 80% of my lineups. Moving to the next game, we got Brooklyn at Orlando. We've got Brooklyn as 10-point favorites here. So this game's got blowout written all over it. As usual, anytime we discuss Brooklyn, it's super top heavy here. We've got Kevin Durant, James Harden just dominating about 72% of the usage rate for this team when they're on the floor. I don't like anybody here. I always prefer Harden over Durant just because of the auxiliary stats, but I'm probably going to be fading the top guys, and that goes for every game today. There's so much value in that 7,000, 8K range that Kevin Durant, James Harden, some of these other guys probably won't be getting too heavily played on my end. But if you are going to play Brooklyn, just look at the top dogs. There's nothing down there. You're not going to find any value. They split the minutes pretty evenly, and they're all just kind of moving pieces for Harden and Durant here. So nobody on that Brooklyn side. And with this being a blowout, man, it's a good chance to kind of fade this Orlando team. Jalen Suggs at 4,400 as a tournament piece. Like, if you want to take a shot, and that's, you're throwing a dart here, man, because sooner or later this guy's fantasy points are going to catch up to his usage rate. It might be tonight, and he's going to blast this 4,400 out of the water. You can't count on it, though, man. The guy has just been shooting atrocious. I know Cole Anthony's been playing lights out. I don't know if I'm a Cole Anthony hater, man, or what, but I just don't think this guy can continue that kind of usage. And in a game that's going to blow out, I'm having a really hard time paying up that 7,700 for him. Same for Wendell Carter, who's all the way up at 7,000 now. We were definitely getting that guy at a discount. 5,600, 6,100. Now he's all the way up to 7,000. A little out of my price range now. So for this Orlando team, I'm fading them completely tonight. I'm hoping for the blowout. I'm not playing Harden or Durant. And I'm hoping this one just gets out of hand early and we kind of coast there. So if you're going to play Orlando, though, I think Jalen Suggs is the best play still on paper. The guy's usage based on that salary it's just ridiculous. So 4,400 for Jalen Suggs is probably the only place I'd go on this Orlando team tonight. Toronto at Boston, and this should be a good game. We've got a 3-point line here. Boston's 3-point favorites at home. Toronto coming back with Pascal Siakam, who's working his minutes up. He's not going to get a full allotment of minutes, I don't think, just yet. And what that really does, though, is it completely takes the value out of the OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet, Scotty Barnes, Precious. It's just this is on paper when this season started, man, Toronto is one of these well-balanced teams, man, top to bottom. They've got talent. They're going to spread it around. Some guys are going to have their night, and you're just going to be playing roulette trying to catch which one it is. So for me, with Siakam healthy, man, this Toronto team is a complete fade for me. If you were going to look at anybody, against Boston here, maybe a Fred VanVleet. I think it's a good spot for him. But really, Boston's weaknesses are down low, but, I don't think Siakam and OG Anunoby are the kind of guys that are going to take full advantage of that. So fading Toronto here, I think with Siakam healthy, we're going to see a very balanced attack from them. And a lot of those guys are overvalued still based on him being out. Boston here at home, and we got Jaylen Brown out for a while right now with that hamstring. Jason Tatum's usage usually when Jaylen Brown is out is astronomical. I think this is a great spot for him, 10,400. Like I mentioned earlier, though, I'm probably not paying up for too many guys tonight. I think there's just plenty of value in that 7-8K range, 13 games. I just want to be balanced. But Tatum's in a blow-up spot here. If of pay-up guys, he's on the top of my list here. 10,400, he could definitely make value for you. I think Al Horford's a little too expensive now. He's all the way up to 7,900. 2 slower games there for him recently, so I won't be looking too much at Al Horford. I do like Dennis Schroeder getting the start with Jaylen Brown out. However, at 6,100, he's not a must-play for me against Toronto's been very good against point guards, shooting guards, but yeah, Schroeder's a good play. He's going to get the minutes, high 30 minutes here, hopefully tonight. And, just facilitating. So if Boston, keeps this game close, Schroeder could definitely get value for you, but I'm going to be going other places tonight. Outside of that, I only really look at Robert Williams if Horford's out, but since he's playing tonight, they kind of cancel each other out for me. So we're going to move on here from this Boston team. We're going to go into this next game. We got Detroit at Houston. Obviously, the big headliner here is Cade Cunningham versus Jalen Green. Battle of the rookies. And it's going to be a fun one, man. For two just shit teams here, man. We've got an absolute, war here amongst first-round draft picks. So I love Cade Cunningham. $5,200 tonight. The guy has been a little up and down. His shooting has just been awful, but doesn't take away the fact that he's shooting 17 times a game. And if you're paying for usage, Cade Cunningham's about as safe as it gets there at $5,200. Outside of Cade Cunningham, though, there's nobody on this Detroit team that I'm really looking at. So we're going to move on. He really, him playing took away from the Jerami Grants, the Sadiq Beys, Kelly Olynyk, and he's really the only viable option. He is running a massive usage rating when he's on the floor, high 20%. It's pretty impressive. I watched this guy in college. Sooner or later, these shots are going to fall. He's got to get these jitters out, I think, from the NBA, but people aren't defending him differently. It's not like he's not getting good looks at the basket. They're just not dropping yet. Against this Houston team who's very poor defensively, this might be the night that he explodes. Now, Houston, on the other hand, we're waiting on some injury news here, so it's kind of hard to evaluate this team. Kevin Porter Jr. is questionable as of now. If he plays, I don't really like anybody on Houston. And if he's out, though, and that usage rate of his gets spread around, I mean, guys like Christian Wood, Jashawn Tate, Eric Gordon, these guys are going to get a massive boost. DJ Augustine has been kind of that fill-in, and if he's starting, I think at bare minimum $3,000 would probably be a great plug and play there if you're trying to kind of get up in value to some of the other guys on this slate. But yeah, I mean, we're waiting on news. Luckily, this game starts only 30 minutes after lock. We should know going into it if Porter's in or out. If Porter's out, yeah, Christian Wood gets a look for me at 9,200. And then, maybe we play the narrative. Maybe we play Jalen Green here and hope he battles it out with Cade Cunningham. But really hard to trust Houston right now. We'll wait on this Kevin Porter news and kind of break that down a little further as we get closer to the slate. Milwaukee at the Knicks. And we got a 4-point line here for the Knicks as favorites. I really haven't decided how I think this game goes down yet, but Giannis Antetokounmpo is way too expensive now. I know the guy's like the greatest thing in fantasy basketball history, but at $12,300 to make value, 72 to 74 points minimum makes you value. He's not getting there. I don't care how this game goes. It could go to triple overtime. That guy's not scoring you 72 fantasy points to get you value. If you're playing cash, he's probably safe, but we're talking second half of a back-to-back, $12,000 player. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm hoping everybody goes to Giannis tonight, and he is going to destroy your lineup because there's just no way to build a solid foundation around that kind of price tag. Middleton's out. Brook Lopez is out. DiVincenzo's out still. Drew Holiday's usage has been going up. I don't mind him right here at 6,500. But obviously the guy that I'm going to be loading up, 90, 95% of my lineups is going to be Bobby Portis again. 5,500, and the guy's been an absolute beast lately. So as long as we don't hear any news about that guy sitting out because it's the second leg of a back-to-back, Bobby Portis is an absolute must-play for me. George Hill, not a bad spot here again for him. But for the most part, generally speaking, I would tell you play Giannis, play Portis. Giannis's price tag tonight is just not even realistic. So it's Portis, and that's it for me on this Milwaukee side of things. Now, hopping over to the Knicks, again, another team we're waiting on a lot of news from, and this is going to be Mitchell Robinson and Nerlens Noel are both questionable. My gut tells me both these guys sit, man. Noel tried to play in the last game, left a few times, ended up playing like 12 minutes, and Taj Gibson ended up running the vast majority of that game. If they both sit, Taj Gibson becomes just an absolute must play at the bare minimum 3,000, and you can really do some things with your lineup. But we have to wait for that news. Again, 30 minutes after lock, we should know this heading into the slate. So outside of that, though, I do think Julius Randle would run a lot more 5 if both of them are out. When he runs the 5, man, his points per minute jump like 0.6 versus when he's playing at the 4. So if he's going to get an extended run there at the 5, Julius Randle is in play for a pay up at 10,300. Milwaukee doesn't have much size in the middle, so I think Julius Randle could definitely have a good game here, especially if it stays competitive. But for the most part, waiting on this news, and we'll be loading up Taj Gibson if we get the opportunity. Next game, we got Dallas-Chicago. And for Dallas, everybody's healthy pretty much now. I know we got Kleber out, but Porzingis is back. They're running Brunson in the starting lineup with him, and Brunson seems to still be a good play at 6,000, but like I said, there's just so many other places to go tonight. I don't love the matchup. Chicago is one of the better defensive teams in the league. They really like to control the pace, and they don't give up anything easy, man. And that's one thing you got to really pay attention to is, these teams like Houston and Washington and the Lakers, they give up easy buckets, man, and it gets guys rolling. Chicago is tough because they just lock you down from the opening tip. Everything is contested. Everything is a challenge. They're not loose defensively. They're dialed in. And it's just a mentality thing over there. So, look, Luka, 11,400, I think is overpriced in this matchup. I wouldn't be touching Porzingis. And I think if you're going to play anybody, it's going to be Brunson. But for me, this Dallas team's a pass here against Chicago, who I think should control this game and dominate. And we didn't even get into the line of this game. We've got Chicago as 3.5-point favorites. Good spot. I'm not sure it stays that competitive, but I love the Chicago defense. I rarely load up against these guys. And on the other end, I mean, I want to point out a very, very shocking thing I saw here on the salaries is that Zach LaVine came all the way down to $7,600. His play hasn't dropped off at all. I love this guy in this spot here against Dallas, who's not that great defensively. I think Zach LaVine has a monster game here. Don't be confused. Kobe White's injury designation is off next to his name, but he's not going to be playing in these games for a while. I believe he got assigned to the G League. And so I'd say another week or so before we get this guy anywhere near the NBA court. So that shouldn't affect anything tonight. Zach LaVine, I don't really love the price of these other Bulls players. Vukovic, DeRozan, Lonzo Ball. But for me, I'm going to take this price drop here on LaVine at 7,600, and I'm going to load him up with full confidence here. Moving in later to the night, we've got Charlotte at Memphis. And let's hop over, check this line out right now. We've got Memphis as 4.5-point favorites here at home. Charlotte's going to be playing probably without PJ Washington here, who is, he's out still. So, look, Terry Rozier's still underpriced, man, 6,300. Mason Plumlee at 5,000 is not a bad play. Outside of that, there's nothing else I'm really looking at on Charlotte. LaMelo Ball's all the way up to $10,000 salary. He's way overpriced at this point if you're trying to make value. Mikal Bridges, a little too high for me. So it's Terry Rozier, maybe a Mason Plumlee play, but honestly, I'm not getting there too often tonight. But I do like Rozier, 6,300. I think that's a great spot for him here against Memphis. And Memphis, on the other end, is going to be without Dillon Brooks. And they just look better when they play small ball, man. And I know every night we hop on the Jaren Jackson train, but when this guy runs the 5, man, he is an absolute beast. He's only 6,100 still. I don't think Charlotte has much for him, and I also don't think Charlotte's playing that big that they wouldn't run him at the 5 more often than not tonight. He's really cutting into Steven Adams' value. But, yeah, I mean, per usual on this Memphis team, I mean, I like Triple J. And Desmond Bane, just doesn't seem to come up in price at 5,000. He can definitely get you there on any given night. So those are the two guys I'm going with here on Memphis at home against Charlotte, which I think this is a big pace-up spot for these guys. OKC at New Orleans. And, generally I'd say we don't play OKC because they get blown out every night. But, I think Vegas thinks this one's going to stay reasonably close here. We've got a 5-point spread here with the Pelicans favored. I think it stays fairly close, man. I'm not super impressed with this New Orleans team. We talk about how they were built around Zion and no Zion. But, Shea becomes a just monster play when he gets a full allotment of minutes. And if this game stays competitive enough, at 8,900, I mean, the guy's just a smash spot play. There's a pay up. Outside of him, Josh Giddey's a little too expensive now, but Baisley is in a great spot here, 4,800. And like I said, if this game's competitive and he's getting 30-plus minutes, he'll be in a great spot to smash that value for you. Favors at 3,400 isn't the worst spot here. You figure they're going to be going up against Valanciunas on the other end. They're not going to really be able to go small for extended periods of time. So I think Favors gets the minutes here. And, I know he's had a couple bad games here, but when he plays in the 20 plus minutes, he's definitely been smashing that value of 3,400. I'll be going there a little, but like I said, there is, luckily he has forward eligibility here. There is some center plays I like better than him, but this is complete speculation here, but you figure they have to match the size of New Orleans, so they're going to play favors 24 to 28 minutes tonight. And at 3,400, I mean, he would absolutely crush that if he gets those minutes. New Orleans, on the other end, we're still waiting on Brandon Ingram news, I believe. So he's questionable. And that kind of just, ruins this whole team for you. Luckily, it's 5 o'clock start time. Possibly we find out about Brandon Ingram here before the slate starts. Now, if Ingram's in, I'm not playing anybody on this New Orleans team. If he's out again, though, Jonas Valanciunas at 9,100 becomes one of the best plays of the night. And like I said, on the other end, if, the toughest defense he's going to run into is Derek Favors, Valanciunas is going to do whatever he wants with this team. And 9,100, probably one of the best payups of the night. But like I said, we have to know about the Ingram news before the slate starts because the other good center plays are early as well. So pretty tough. Hopefully we find it out. But if Ingram plays, fading New Orleans altogether. If he's out, try and load up on Jonas Valanciunas. Next game, we got Sacramento at San Antonio, and I believe this game is an even spread in Vegas. So we've got Halliburton is the only real injury news. He's questionable still. If he can't go, I really like Davion Mitchell at 4,600. And, I know it gives a boost to Fox, Holmes, Buddy Hield, Barnes, and these guys, but at these price points, I'm not really looking there. I think, Davion Mitchell and maybe Terrence Davis if he plays, but he's also questionable, would be a great, if he ends up playing at $3,200, he should crush his value with Halliburton out. If he's out, I would just look up Davion Mitchell, 4,600, roll him out with full confidence here, man. They should have a great game. San Antonio's okay defensively, but they're nothing spectacular like they used to be. And what should be a competitive game, man, I think Davion Mitchell there should crush for you. San Antonio on the other end of thing, we've got Jakob Poeltl still out, and Diop is out as well. You're going to see Eubanks kind of probably get that spot start again there for Jakob Poeltl. However, the guy really only plays like 22 minutes even when he starts. I know last game he had like a massive outing, 39 fantasy points, but there's just no way that guy's going to continue to produce 1.8, 1.9 fantasy points per minute. That was a one-off. I'm hoping everybody goes there. Even at 4,600, that guy is going to struggle to get you there more times than not. He's just not that involved in the offense. There was a lot of offensive rebounds, putbacks that just happened to play that way for him. But you got Rashawn Holmes on the other side of this, and Eubanks is going to struggle tonight. So, honestly, of the two, Thaddeus Young is the better play, but he's $5,800 now. He is playing more minutes. But again, I don't think this is a great matchup down low for them with Holmes. And I'm not super impressed with their output when they're out there. So I'm going to be fading this San Antonio team from top to bottom. Moving over to this Indy-Denver game. And the Pacers are going to be without LeVert, which first game of a back-to-back. They're sitting him. They said he had a little back tightness, but I think they're just being cautionary with him. I think they were going to sit him one game or another here, and they decided to sit him on the first half of this. So with LeVert out, we're waiting on the Brogdon news. And if Brogdon plays, and he is expected to play, but he's questionable still, so we're going to keep an eye on that. I will note that was an illness, not an injury, so I don't think there's going to be any minutes restrictions if he comes back. And Brogdon would be a smash play at $7,500 if LeVert is out. His usage will be through the roof. We're probably going to see a lot more Chris Duarte, but I don't know if necessarily if I trust him here. And then I think Sabonis at 10,200, who we know Denver's going to be without Jokic tonight because of the suspension. Sabonis might have his way tonight there. And we've got Indiana at -3 right now, 3-point favorites here on the road, mostly because Jokic is suspended here. But Yeah, Sabonis could definitely have his way. Of the pay up options, I don't mind going to Sabonis there at 10,200. Um, but you know, Malcolm Brogdon without LeVert, his usage is going to spike again. I don't want to say he's a must play, but I think he is a smash spot there at $7,500. He was in the upper to mid eights without LeVert before, and we've already seen that the offense runs through this guy when LeVert's not there. So outside of that, I know Miles Turner blows up every fifth game or whatever, but at $6,900, I'm probably not going to be looking there. So for the Pacers, it's Brogdon, possibly a Sabonis if you're going to be paying up tonight. Now, on the other side of this is going to be a lot of value, but you kind of pick your spots, man. Just because somebody's value and they're going to be chalky. You want to talk ownership percentages? I mean, these guys are going to be very similar to how the Sixers are recently. Every one of these guys 40, 50% owned. For me, I think Will Barton at 6,300 is a must play. And the guy is an absolute beast when these guys aren't on the floor. We've got Michael Porter Jr. out. Jokic is out. Jamal Murray's still out. Monte Morris is questionable, and it looks like he was upgraded to probable. So we're going to have Monte Morris tonight. And so I like Will Barton, number 1. I think Monte Morris is number 2 for me at 4,400. Aaron Gordon, 5,200. I just don't know if he gets you there more times than not. I know the usage is going to run through him tonight. I don't love Aaron Gordon here. And PJ Dozier struggles offensively. He does get it done with the other stats, but 4,100 is a little tough to go there. Jeff Green and JaMychal Green are going to split those minutes down low. Kind of want to see who gets the start here. Whoever ends up getting the start is probably going to be a must play. You've got 3,200 and 3,400. But I will be cautious with this, man, because these guys don't score great, even with the minutes. Definitely would not play both of them. Wait, see who's starting. You could always flop between the two. Start up at Jeff Green. You could always drop down to JaMychal Green if he ends up getting the start here. But I know a lot of guys are rolling out maybe 3, 4 of these Denver guys. For me, it's probably going to be 2. I'll probably roll out Will Barton and Monte Morris. Might even just be Will Barton. I do think the Pacers present a good, defensive front there. I don't think this is a smash spot. And just to get off the chalk anyways tonight, I'm probably only going to be going with Will Barton and one of these other guys. Moving over to Portland Phoenix. And this game here, we've got a 5-point Phoenix spread. So Portland, man, Dame's up to 10,100. And sooner or later, he's going to absolutely crush, man. He just has not put it all together in a game that hasn't been a blowout yet for us. But his shooting's coming alive. The guy's going to get you there more times than not. McCollum is a little overpriced at 8,500. Nurkic got a okay matchup here without Ayton. He'll be running against McGee and Kaminsky. So Nurkic might be a look at 7,200. Norman Powell is a pretty good play at 5,600. But Portland's on the second half of a back-to-back. They're playing on the road. I generally fade these guys on the road. They don't shoot as well. They tend to get into some blowouts. So I don't love Portland tonight. I think if you were going to go anywhere, it would be Powell at 5,600. Now, Phoenix, on the other hand, is going to be without Ayton and without Landry Shamet. We've got Frank Kaminsky and McGee kind of splitting those center minutes, but it looked like McGee ran the majority of the minutes in the last game. It could flip-flop either way. I think Portland's more than willing to run small ball with them, so we might see a little more Kaminsky. However, I don't trust either of these guys. You could, Kaminsky's all the way up to 5,000, so he's not this smash spot value play that he was a few nights ago. And then you've got Devin Booker, Chris Paul. Pick which one you like better for fantasy purposes. For me, I usually lean Chris Paul. I don't love him here at $9,000. I do think this game's a blowout. I think they get ahead of Portland early, and they put him away at half. We don't see too much Chris Paul in the second half here. So I'm going to be fading Phoenix, and this is another game I do think this is a blowout waiting to happen. Minnesota, Golden State. This is a good game, on paper, and I think even Vegas thinks it's semi-reasonable. We only got a 7.5 point spread here. The Warriors at home, though, are an absolute lock, man. And, just like the last game, maybe Vegas doesn't agree with me, but I think this is an absolute 20-point blowout. I don't think this thing's even remotely close. And because of that, I'm not paying for any of these Minnesota guys. I don't think they get enough minutes tonight. If you're going to play anybody, Patrick Beverley did start at 4,300 next to D'Angelo Russell. I mean, if he's getting 20 plus minutes, he could definitely get you there. I'd have to look back historically how he does playing against Steph, but I know a lot of his energy is going to be expended there on the defensive side of the ball. For me, thinking, this is going to be a blowout to me, so I'm going to be fading Minnesota completely here. And Golden State on the other side of things, I'm just not interested in paying the $11,700 for Steph Curry, even though I think he gets you there possibly. But if this is a blowout, this guy doesn't play the fourth quarter, he's really going to hurt your lineup tonight. Draymond Green's 6,700 is a little cheap. Jordan Poole, we're still kind of waiting for that to fully transpire. So hoping this is a blowout, not going up to Steph Curry at 11,700. I think that's just another ridiculous price point. Him and Giannis, man, I know they can get you 80 on a given night, but more times than not, they're not going to. So I'm going to be fading this game completely. And then the last game of the night, we've got Miami at the Lakers. And we are waiting on some injury news here, which will affect this. But we've got Bam, and most recent news says, looks like he'll play. So I think Bam absolutely shreds this Lakers front court up, man. They don't want to go down there with this guy. Especially with LeBron out, their defense has been porous. I think Bam's in a great spot here. And, we are waiting on Tyler Hero news, who is also likely to play. So with Hero playing as well, there's not much I like on this Miami side of things. However, Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, if you think this game's competitive, then, they might be decent plays against a bad Lakers defense. However, we got Miami's only -5 here tonight. It's tough. I'd probably look at Bam 7,900. Other than that, there's not much here on the Miami side of things for me. And the Lakers, who generally I always have a must play on the Lakers on the last game of the slate, because with LeBron out, Westbrook and Davis just absolutely own the usage. However, at 11,300, 11,100, I won't be playing either of those guys tonight. Carmelo Anthony at 5,800 is way too scoring dependent against a decent Miami team. I don't trust him tonight. And I know we're waiting on news on Rajon Rondo, and he's still questionable. I'm not even sure what their game plan is if Rondo can't go. It might possibly be just let Westbrook play 48 minutes because they don't have anybody that can handle the ball behind him. So, yeah, they might go with like a jumbo lineup with Westbrook out. I'm not quite sure. But Lakers are a fade for me tonight. The superstars are priced way too high. The matchup's not great. This isn't a pace-up spot at all. So that kind of sums it up for DraftKings for me. And now let's swap over to Superdraft. And let me, start off with, if you're just trying to build your payroll, Superdraft's probably one of the best places to be playing right now. The contests are only filling at about 70%. So, look, you already beat 30% of the field just by entering. It is based on a multiplier instead of salary cap. You can play anybody you want. Every player gets a multiplier next to their name. If they score 20 points and they got a 2x multiplier, it goes to 40. Some of the top dogs, they only get a 1x, so they have to match that with 40 fantasy points. So you got to kind of pick your value. Very similar, and you can correlate your DraftKings over to Superdraft. Your projections would be very similar. Price per point versus price with the multiplier. So over here, we're going to start with the guards. You got Westbrook at 1x, Luka at 1x. I probably won't be playing either of those guys. Harden, Steph Curry. I'd probably give Steph Curry a look at 1.05x if you think the game stays close. If it's a blowout, you might get burned there. Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard, no. Morant. We're kind of scrolling here. Chris Paul at 1.25x isn't a bad spot for you. Brogdon at 1.25x. I don't think he gets you there, even if he ends up going tonight. DeRozan. Levine at 1.25x, I like tonight. I think this is a good spot for him. But you can pick between either of them at the same multiplier, him or DeRozan. So whoever you think is going to have a better game tonight, that might be a must play there against Dallas. Shea Alexander, if you think this game is competitive, 1.25 is not a bad spot for him as well. Let's see. We got Rozier at 1.35. I don't know if that's quite enough for me to want to go there. Schroeder at 1.45. Rubio at 1.45 is probably a must play there for me. So I'll be rolling out a bunch of Rubio here on Superdraft. Will Barton's at 1.45. I think that's a great spot for him. Cade Cunningham 1.5. That's not quite enough. Let's see if there's any of these high multiplier guys we can look at. Yeah, that seems about it. Oh, Davion Mitchell, you're getting at 1.85. And Patrick Beverley's at 1.85. So I do like Patrick Beverley there at 1.85x. I think that's a good spot for him here. And that looks like it's about it for guards. So probably Patrick Beverley at 1.85x. And then I'll be coming up to that Will Barton 1.45 and taking one of Levine or DeRozan there at 1.25 for guards. Now, forwards, let's get back up to the top here. And we've got Durant, Giannis, Anthony Davis, Luka Doncic. Look, Giannis at 1x, like I said, price not involved. I think Giannis is a great spot here tonight, so I don't mind him at 1x. Siakam and Tatum, both at 1.15. I'd probably lean Tatum there without Brown, but you're taking a chance. Julius Randle at 1.15, not a bad spot for him against Milwaukee. You can play DeRozan and Levine as forwards as well, so you can kind of pick and choose. Or you can also play both of them if you think that Chicago really goes off tonight. Sean Holmes, Porzingis, Mobley, Fournier, Barnett, Wendell Carter. Bobby Portis at 1.55x is going to be a must play. He's going to be super chalky, though, just so you know. He's probably going to get played at about 70% tonight. But I do think he gets you there. Now, Franz Wagner at 1.75 is a popular play. I don't love it tonight against Brooklyn. I think we get a blowout there. You know, the Frank Kaminsky's, I don't think get you there. So I'm not seeing much value here at the forward position that really stands out, which means we're going to have to look up top a little more where we kind of want to go, which is fine because that just means you pick your best spot here. So I do like Giannis. I think Bam at 1.25 is a good spot there if he plays. And I'll probably end up going with maybe the other Levine or DeRozan there at forward. Make sure I didn't miss anybody here, but yeah, and Bobby Portis. So that's kind of where we're going there at forwards. And then you get one center position. This is the one you got to get right, man, because if you get this wrong, everybody else gets it right, you're at a real disadvantage for the night. We've got Anthony Davis at 1x, Sabonis is at 1.05, Karl Anthony Towns at 1.1, Randall, Vukovic. Valanciunas, if Ingram doesn't play at 1.2x, I think is a great spot for him. I like Jarrett Allen at 1.25x. Bam's in a good spot here again. Evan Mobley's a 1.4. I think I'd probably go Allen there instead. You know, there's not much big value here unless you want to take a chance on Eubanks at 1.95x. If you think he can repeat his usage of last game, I mean, that's got to be where you go. For me personally, I think it was a one-off, and I'm going to be mostly playing my lineups here between Jared Allen and possibly switching over to Valanciunas if we have Ingram out. So, look, hit the like, hit the subscribe. We'll be bringing you basketball content every day. We've got the NFL on the weekends, and we've got UFC every week for you.